Well, time to move on then. Let's focus on Polycab. They reported a mixed set of numbers, but the EBITDA margins missed estimates. To discuss this and more, we have with us Mr. Jaisinghani, the chairman and managing director of the company, and Mr. Tongia, the CFO of Polycab. Good morning, gentlemen, and thanks a lot for joining in. Well, I have a two-part question. One is on the positive aspect, which is the revenues, and then on the margins. So let's get straight to it. At the half-year mark, you'll have done 10,000 crores of revenues. Can you hit that 20,000 crore mark in FY25 itself? So that's on the revenues. And on the margin front, your gross margins have come in at 10-quarter lows. And you all have mentioned that competitive intensity and product mix, that's one of the reasons that led to the margin miss. Do you want to alter that margin guidance of 12 to 13%? Please go ahead.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us. You're right. The first half top line is 10,000 crore rupees. And as you would be able to recollect, we had given a guidance of 200 billion or 20,000 crore rupees of top line by fiscal 26. Considering that we have already achieved 10,000 crore in the first half, we believe we should be able to touch 200 billion or 20,000 crore rupees in the current fiscal itself. And we would beat our own guidance as far as top line is concerned. On EBITDA margin, your observations are correct. There is a bit of a contraction in the gross margins, predominantly because of competitive intensity. There was a fair amount of copper volatility in the current quarter. And for the retail business, at times, it's difficult to pass on all the increases to the end customer, considering the competition what we have in our sector. Having said that, the actual EBITDA margin for the cable and wire is within the guided range of 12 to 14%. And we believe that in quarters to come, we would continue to maintain that range. We expect that as far as the margins are concerned, that second half of the year should be better than the first half of the year.
Okay, all right. Just to push you a little bit more, Mr. Tongia, on that front, this competitive intensity, it's the first time I'm reading it in your, in your numbers. So if you could just throw some more light on that front, and also the FMEG business that continues to deliver losses. How is the turnaround going to take place there? By when could we see a positive number? Because those losses have expanded a little bit.
You're right. Let me pick up FMEG first. FMEG, your observation is right. Even in the current quarter, we have a small EBIT loss. Now we have a strategic roadmap in place for FMEG. We believe that this execution will start in the second half of the year. And in the next year, we should be able to get benefit out of it. Because of that, we believe that for the rest of the year, we will continue to have some losses on FMEG. As far as the cable and wire margins are concerned, we have two types of businesses. One is a cable business and second is a wire business. We leader as far as cable is concerned with a huge margin. As far as wires is concerned, though we are market leader, but there are other players as well in the space. Whenever there is a significant volatility of copper price, it becomes difficult for all the large players to pass on 100% increases to end customer because everyone wants to maintain the top line. And that is what we witnessed in this particular quarter. The copper LME movement was between $8,600 to $9,800. And that is why we were not able to pass on all the cost increases to end customer. Having said that, as I alluded a while back, we believe that the second half of the year should be better than the first half of the year as far as margins are concerned.
Even exports, your export revenue declined 29% on a year-on-year basis. Exports are high margins for you. What is the visibility of export revival and what led to the contraction in Q2?
You're right. Last year, exports revenue was slightly better than the current year. But if I were to just give you a quarter-on-quarter growth number, it has improved by almost 36%. Historically, exports used to be around 2-3% of our top line. Now it is in the handle of around 5-6%. And we believe that in a year or two, we should be able to take it to almost 8-10% of our top line. We have great traction in the markets like Australia, US, Saudi. And we believe that even the second half of the year should be better than the first half for the exports business as well.
Okay, gentlemen, good morning. Prashant here. Mr. Jaisinghani, if I can come to you, sir. Would you, so this competition bit which, Gandharv addressed, especially in the wire segment, I mean, is the competitive intensity increasing? You've seen you've seen this industry for a long time, or it's largely linked to sort of copper price fluctuation. So it's not competitive intensity on its own which has gone up. It's combined with copper price volatility, which is the problem. Go on, sir.
Yeah, basically it is dependent upon whenever copper go up suddenly, demand, we cannot increase the price, whatever is cost is all gone up. So there's a dip of margin decline in that period. So from last 3 months, continuously copper is going up from 8,800 to 9,200, 9,600, 9,800. Always this is going to be happening. But whenever again will go down, then market margin will increase. So this will be definitely depend upon a quarter now. This suddenly metal has gone up, but now it is looking a very little soft now. Though again margin may be increase again in coming quarters.
What happens, Mr. Jaisinghani, if copper prices go to, as some forecasts are saying, to $10,000, $11,000, $12,000? What happens then? Will we have a temporary setback for a quarter, 2 quarters?
No,
Yeah.
basically we are changing the price of every 15 days to 1 month. So we are trying to pass on maximum to the customer. But whenever jump more than $300-400 at a time, then it is difficult to increase that. If it will be range of 200 to 300, then we can collect from the customer. There won't be any problem. But whenever jump will be more than $500, definitely going to hit margins for everybody. But everybody cannot pass on all the price to the customer.
Sure. Gandharv, just sort of moving tracks. Markets have been expecting a order from the BharatNet program for Polycab. Can you tell us? I think the total value of the contract was about 10,000 crores, and the optic fiber bit is about 2,500, 3,000 crores. Sort of weigh in on the numbers, and where does Polycab stand for this?
Yeah. So the government of India has a particular ambitious project wherein they want to connect all the villages through optical fiber cable. The tender were submitted by all the participants, including Polycab, and we are expecting the final conclusion by the authorities in the current month. We have participated in all the tenders, and it is now on the authorities to finally conclude and award the tenders. Once we get some information from the authorities on the award, then we'll come back to you.
That you participated for is how much, Gandharv?
All the tenders.
What's the value?
Around 50,000 crore rupees.
You participated in tenders worth 50,000 crores rupees?
Like us, many of other players have also participated. Not all of us will get 100%. So it would be a number lesser than what we have participated. And we'll have to wait for the government to finally conclude on this.
You typically, so this happens every few years, I'm assuming, right? It's not, so could you tell us, what's generally, how do they distribute this? What's your expectation? What's the minimum that you're confident of winning?
So this a niche project for the government. This is going on since last around 10 years or 7-8 years. This is, if I am not wrong, this is probably the second largest tender, and government will continue with this for a foreseeable future. We have participated in all the tenders, and I think we'll have to leave it to the government to decide. We as a manufacturer, we would love to maximize the top line and bottom line, but I think that's dependent on the customer, which is government in this case.
And typically, what are margins here?
Comparable margins, not significantly different from our domestic cable and wire margin.
So 12 to 14%, in that range?
Give and take. It has some conditions, and we'll have to wait for the final order. But your understanding is right. It should be in that range.
All right. Mr. Tongia, just to clear the point on margins, for this year itself, the second half of the year, margins will be better. Cables and wire business will be 12 to 14% in that band. And FMEG will continue to deliver some losses, right?
That's correct.
And FY26, at some point of time, FMEG could turn into the green as well.
We are trying our level best.
All right. Mr. Jaisinghani, let me come across to you then. Could you tell us, about, I think the family office as well has been participating in the equity markets, and you had sold some minor stake in the company. No further plans to reduce stake, or could that be in the offing? Point number one. And point number two is, have you heard from the tax authorities with regard to that tax issue that was there towards the end of 2023?
Yeah, basically, we are family members are involved in total in Polycab work, and we are not interested to basically sell the shares, but everybody's little requirement to the family, personal families. So we already done equally. We all four with us has released only 0.5%, only for the family requirements. Nothing for any business.
Okay. Mr. Jaisinghani, just one final word. As a part of your Project Leap, you had guided to achieve 20,000 crore by FY26. Now you're going to achieve it in FY25. So it's time now for the next strategy reset, for the company. Give us the direction. Are you looking at doubling revenues in the next 5 years? Where do you think Polycab will be?
Yeah, we are basically again doing a steady meeting by end of December, and in which we are really talking about where we should be in coming 5 years. The long-term goal and short-term goal we have to think very clearly. So we all team members are working on that. We'll come back to you about after having a meeting.
Any early indications of the direction?
Of the direction?
The details we'll get in December, sir, when you come out with that strategy. But just give us some hint, a trailer.
Trailer means definitely we want to grow, and we are putting a capex, and we'll definitely do what we are giving figure. Whatever figure we'll give, we will try to do more than that. So we'll let you know in next quarter exactly where we want to be.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Jaisinghani and Mr. Tongia for joining in. Wish you all the very best. That's Polycab. The stock is down close to about 3.5% today.